Hi, this is Dr. Friedman, and we're going to review some basics about the piano keyboard. So first of all, obviously you have white keys and you have black keys. The black keys are arranged in groups of twos and threes and twos and threes, or threes and twos, depending on how you like to look at it. The closest that you have of any two notes on the piano keyboard, for instance, between a white key and a black key, or between a black key and a white key, or in a couple of instances between two white keys, the closest distance between any two notes on the piano keyboard is called a half step. So the distance from this white key to this black key is called a half step, or the distance from this black key to this white key is a half step. And again, in a couple of instances, you have between these two white keys is a half step, and these two white keys is a half step. And that is the basics of half steps. And then when you put two halves together, you get a half step from here to here, and then another half step. So the distance between these two white notes is called a whole step. The distance between these two black notes is called a whole step. The distance from this white note to this black note is a whole step because you have a half plus a whole. And it doesn't matter if you go backwards as well, because the distance from this white key down to this is a half step, and down to this black note is a whole step. So you have various whole steps throughout the piano keyboard and various different ways of making whole steps like this throughout the piano keyboard. So that's the basics of understanding this part of the piano keyboard. To the left of the two black keys is C, and then you use the alphabet C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. So the notes for music is A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and then you repeat. And then the black keys are slight variations on A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and they're called sharps or flats. A sharp raises a note by one half step. So if I said C sharp, first I would find C and then go up one half step, and I would have this black note. So if I said G sharp, I would first find G and go up one half step, and that would be this note, G sharp. You do have things, for instance, like E sharp, although it's very rare. If I found the E, I go up one half step, and this technically can also be called E sharp, this note F. A flat lowers the note by a half step. So if I said D flat, I would first find D and then go down a half step, and this black note is D flat. If I said G flat, I would first find G, and then I would go down by a half step, and this note is G flat. So you can think in terms of these black notes in two ways. You think in terms of, first, this note has two names. In terms of C, I would call this C sharp because it's half step above C. In terms of D, I would call this D flat. The same is true for all of these notes. D sharp or E flat, F sharp or G flat. This would be G sharp or A flat, B flat or A sharp. The same is true for any of these notes. If I asked you to find an E sharp, you would first find E and go up one half step to F, and this is E sharp technically, as we said before. I could also say that this note E in terms of F could be called F flat. So just so you understand that sharps and flats are used to raise notes or tones by half a step. So that's how you can use them technically.